Your business is only as strong as your hiring system. A rock solid process doesn't just find the best talent, it creates a team that enables you to finally stop working those 12-hour days and step into the true CEO role that your business needs. So in this video, I'll be showcasing the ultimate hiring system inside of Notion. I'll be showing you how you can use Notion's new forms to have applicants apply directly into your Notion databases, and how you can use Notion's updated automations to automatically send interview booking emails, rejection letters, and offer letters. And if you stay around till the end of the video, I'll show you how you can access a template of this hiring system, which you can duplicate into your own workspace with the click of a button. So here we are inside of Notion in the hiring dashboard. And as you can see at the top of the page, this database or this dashboard is made up of essentially 3 sections. First of all, we have the hiring projects, and this is where we manage all of the information, tasks, interviews, and candidates for whatever role we're looking to hire for. Then we have the public job posts, which is essentially making use of Notion's new sites, and where we can essentially share public job posts for applicants to apply through. And then finally, we have the actual interviews themselves, which is where we can capture interview notes for each candidate as well as score them. So what I'll do is I'll take you from the start to the end of the hiring process, and I'll call out particular parts of the system and what it does particularly well. So as you can see, we would start at the hiring project section, and we have a pipeline view here, which basically is showing us the different stages that different positions are at. And this first stage of requests is basically for if you're working with a bigger team and you may have people throughout the company who have different ideas or different requests for positions that need to be filled. And so they can pop the request in there, and then later on the CEO or the COO can then approve it and drag it into that approved stage. So let's say, as an example, we're looking to hire a new customer success manager. What we can do is hit new here and type that in. The hiring manager would essentially be whoever's going to be in charge of this role and being on the interviews and creating all of the assets for it. Typically, this might be someone that's already in that department or someone who suggested it. So for example, let's say there is already a customer success manager and we just need a second one. So the current success manager is in charge of that. But for now, I'm just gonna add myself in here. And then finally, the start date would be when we want this role to begin. So let's say we want this to start in the new year in January. So once we've done that, that's all that needs to be filled out. And then as we said, we would have a conversation with either the CEO or the COO, and they can either approve or deny this. And if they approved it, it would move into this approved backlog. And then only once we are ready to begin work would we then drag this into the in progress stage. Now, this is where we start to use some of Notion's automations, and we have this in progress automation that's set up here. But essentially what this is going to do is when we open this page, we're going to have a number of tasks that are going to fill out here. So as you can see, now the automation has triggered and we can see all of these different tasks that have been assigned. What's really nice about that automation is it has some internal logic that basically assigns it to the right person based on who has been specified as the hiring manager up here. And then what we also have is a automatic due date that's been assigned based on when this was moved into in progress. So all of these tasks can be created ahead of time, and it really helps with whoever is going to be part of the hiring process to know exactly what they need to do. And the first thing that we have on this list is to complete the hiring plan. And what also has been created in here in the hiring plan section is a new hiring plan. So that's what we'll start with now. So when we open up this page, we have an entire template that walks us through creating this hiring plan. And this is basically being optimized from Layla Hormozi and her way of hiring. She's a complete hiring expert. And so I've taken a lot of what she has spoken about online and put it into this template to really help you with the hiring process. So the first thing that she recommends is to actually take a step back and look at the hiring plan and think about what the actual pain is that you're hoping this new hire is going to relieve. We're not just hiring anyone for the sake of hiring. We have a specific problem that is currently in the business, and we want to hire this person to solve that problem. It may be as simple as taking the account manager role off of CEO's plate. And that's an absolutely fine reason to hire someone. Or it might be something more specific, might be something more technical, whatever it is, we jog it down here. The next thing we have is the metrics. So everyone in the company should be owning a KPI. And so we want to decide which of our current KPIs that this person is going to own. If we don't have them already created in the KPI database that I'm linking to here, then we might actually want to create a new KPI. So just an example, a KPI that we might have for the customer success manager, maybe the onboarding time. Once we have this KPI, Layla also recommends sectioning this into push metrics and pull metrics. So push metrics are things that are motivating the employee, the things that are pushing them towards a particular target, and then pull are things that we're trying to avoid them doing. So as an example, if we didn't want the customer manager to ever miss a client call, for example, we might have that as a pull metric. I'm just going to leave that blank for now, but that is what that is doing there. Then the next thing we have is employee benefits. So this is where we start thinking about things like salary, 401k, insurance, and then some other things Layla recommends is thinking about ways to come up with benefits outside of that. So work environment, career path. And the reason behind having these employee benefits front of mind is that once we come to actually advertising for the role, we think from the perspective of marketing. And in terms of wanting to find the ideal candidate, like when we're trying to find the ideal client. And so we want to have these batch of benefits or these batch of rewards that we can promote that will then attract the right candidate. Then we have the interview plan. So if we're doing multiple interviews, we can say who's going to be there for the first round, second round, final round. But in our use case, we're only going to have one round of interviews. Then we want to ask ourselves if we are hiring for experience. And so essentially, is there someone who is already in the company who has the experience that is needed? Are we going to be able to train the new person up with that experience we already have? And if we don't have that experience, are we hiring someone to train us essentially and to teach us about this new aspect of our business? So that's something really important to have because that's going to dictate how much training we're going to give to this new hire. And then finally, we have these 5 T's. So the talent goals and the talent qualities. So really trying to paint a picture of what exactly do we want the client to, the candidate to achieve, and what characteristics, what qualities do they have, so we can know when we see them on the interview that they're the right fit. Something Layla doesn't touch on is basically sketching out the different roles and responsibilities that this person would do, but this is something I strongly recommend you do. And so I have a roles database down here, and within each of the roles, I have connected to that the different processes that role is responsible for. And so I can nice and easily basically see the client success manager does these tasks on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. And so this new person, if they are within the client success manager role, would be in charge of these tasks. In most smaller agencies, employees will be wearing multiple hats. So they will actually belong to multiple roles. They will have one separate job title, for example, customer success manager, but they may also have more individualized roles. So it's fine for them to have multiple roles, but as the main thing is that we want to see all of the different processes or tasks that they're going to be in charge of and basically sketch that out now. So now we have completed the hiring plan, we can mark that off as done and move on to the next task, which is to complete the job post. So here we have a job post database and we can create a new job post just like so. And as always, there's going to be a template that's going to help us along with creating this. So we'll just rename this to Customer Success Manager. And then walking through this template, essentially we just have a pretty standard job listing template. So an about us section, of course we could fill this in ahead of time so don't have to rewrite this every time. Then the actual job description, then we have some key responsibilities. Again, we know exactly what they are because we looked at the roles and responsibilities earlier, so we can just copy and paste those. Qualifications, if it's required, preferred. The benefits, again, we've already thought about those benefits, so we can just copy and paste them right in. Equal opportunity employer, and then finally, how to apply. And so essentially, this is where we can link to, we don't have to actually do anything here, but we have a link to a form inside of here in this job application form. And I'll actually show you what that looks like over on the side of the applicant in a second. But once we have filled this out, the next thing for us to do would be to share this. And it looks like this is already shared, which is great. And then we would actually come to view site And now this is exactly what the new candidate was to see when they click through on this link, whether it be through an Instagram ad, whether it be through a hiring platform, wherever it is, they would all land on this one page, and they've got this nice succinct job application to look through. So they can look through all of these details. And then, as I said, at the bottom, we have this how to apply and the apply now button. And once they click this, it's going to open up our application form. So the application form is really simple. We're going to ask for their first and last name. I'll just put my own in now. I'm going to ask for their email. I'm going to ask for their phone number in case we're doing phone screenings. And then most importantly, we're going to ask them which position are they applying for. And so now this is where they can come and find the customer success manager and link to that now. And then a few more questions. We have, who is your current employer? Let's say it's Notion. What is your current position? Let's say consultant. And then also an opportunity to attach a CV here. So all they have to do is then submit that. And then they're going to receive this application was submitted section. But also in the background, we've got two automations that are set up that are going to do two things. First of all, the candidate is going to receive an email from us, which says, thank you for applying for the role at the company. And then it says, this is just to confirm we've received the application and we'll be reviewing it, talking through what happens next, which is next interview steps, and then also telling them when they can expect a reply from us. So that's great. The candidate now knows everything they need to know about the application process. And then the next automation adds them as a candidate inside of our database here, which is linked within our customer success manager hiring project. And so we can just send out this link to everyone, and then all of our applicants are going to find their way within this candidate pipeline in the applied stage. So now the next task we have is to create the shortlist. And so obviously we would normally have a number of candidates hopefully that have applied. And we can go through and check inside of their actual page here. So we can generate the template here, but in the section here, we can see their basic info. We can see a link to their CV. Obviously I didn't actually add one, but you can review their CV. And then if there was any particular answers or questions that you had during the application process, for example, why have you chosen to apply with us, things like that, you can also review that. But essentially you can review all of their details from within Notion, and then based on that, decide if they should go to the shortlist. So let's say we're happy with Sam, so we're going to move him forward into the shortlist. And then once we're ready, we can actually create the candidate task and send that off. So I'm going to mark this off as done. And then as it says, the next thing would be to create the candidate tasks and to send those off in an email. Now, again, inside of Notion, we can use this candidate task page that we have already set up. And again, we have a bit of a template for you here. This is for the success manager specifically, but we've got the task, the scenario requirements, the components, deliverables, what we're going to be evaluating it on, and then the time expectation, how long it should take, all that sort of thing, or questions they might have. And so once we're ready, we can again use Notion's site feature to publish this to the web and take this link and then use that in all of our emails to our candidates and send that off. So now Sam is in the candidate task section, and once we receive his submission over email, we can review that. And once we've reviewed all of our candidate tasks, we can mark this off as done and mark this off as done. And then finally, we would move Sam over into the interview stage if we're happy with him. And again, we've got another automation running here. So once we move that person into the interview stage, they would then receive an email that says, you've made it through to the second round. Please now book on to an interview with a hiring manager. And we have, again, a link here to our booking portal. So all of this happens without much back and forth between you and the candidate. Of course, during the interview, we can actually open up this candidate page and we can track the interview notes and the score. So I can create a new interview here. This is with Sam Bird and let's say John Smith is the hiring manager. We can mark myself down as the interviewer. We can say when the interview date was. And then inside of the actual interviews, we have several templates that we can use to help us with reviewing this. So this is a final round interview. And so we have a agenda to go through. So introduction, professional background, technical marketing skills, so on and so forth. So the interviewer can literally go through this and know exactly what to ask during the interview. They have a spot for their notes there. And then afterwards, we have a checklist of the things that we need to do. So we can mark their score out of 10, how well they did. Let's say Sam did really well, so he's 10 out of 10. We might write some overall notes if anyone else needs to review this other than us. But essentially we have a way to track all of the interviews and also give a score within the candidate's page. And then finally, if Sam is successful, we can drag him over into the offer section here. And again, we've got an automation that's going to run automatically, which is going to send Sam all the details over email. Alternatively, if at any stage anyone is unsuccessful, we can also move them over into the rejected stage. And again, we've got a rejected email that will be sent out automatically to them, so we don't have to worry about that either. So if you'd like to get a copy of the template, you can use the link down below in the description to access it. Of course, if you're hiring someone new, you also need to be creating the SOPs that's going to train them on their new role. So you can check out my how to write SOPs video down here or here. And I've also got an entire system for onboarding new employees. So down below in the comments, let me know if you'd like to see that as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.